about that EC is basically a management body. That's true that its specified role is three: conduct elections, registration of voters, constituency reunification. Now, what I would differ with Dato' is on the part that he said we do not have the right to push all this thing because it's subject to the government. By law, that's true because government bill have to come from the AG chamber. There's no way that EC can replace that. So what can we really legitimately expect of EC? This is my position. I think that the EC, all the EC need to do is that not to submit whatever recommendation to AG chamber first, and let AG chamber to decide and the cabinet to decide whether all those things would go out to parliament. The first thing is that EC should be with us, the citizen. We decide, and then you table. And if AG reject, it's not your fault. We will take it up with the AG. We don't do AG bosses. So if the AG boss is not allowing AG to do what is good for the country, we change the government. Straightforward.
Thank you very much, Chief White. I don't know if you want to, who would like to comment on any of what Chief White has said? We will open it to the floor for questions. All right, I'm now going to open it to the floor for questions because we don't have a lot of time. We are supposed to end at about 10, so we have 1.5 hours. So, yes, YB Nurul Ida.
Thank you very much.
Could you get to the mic?
Yes. Oh,
you want to use this?
Before I get to the mic, can I just give picture? Let's just forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go on.
Thanks, everyone. Distinguished panelists, I'm just going to touch on one issue, which I didn't hear from many of the panelists. It's about the use of indelible ink. As you know, it reduces the incidence of phantom voters quite considerably. And just to recap, just a short one, back in March 2008, 3 days before the polling was supposed to take place, the EC chairman at the time, together with Attorney General and IGP, cancelled its use, citing two reasons. The first is because there was reports of sabotage stemming from Thailand, and second, because it also contravenes Article 119 of the Federal Constitution. Now, it cost us about 2.4 million ringgit. And I just want to know right now, can Deputy Chairperson, Dato' Muhammad, if you can, just comment. I know you have to depend on the government, but Dato' Sreenevasan Aziz himself said in Parliament that the SPR, the EC, has the power to decide against or for the use of the indelible ink. This was said in Parliament. So I just want to know right now, since I'm sure PDRM can handle incidents of sabotages if the EC decides on the use. And secondly, anyone who disagrees with putting the ink on their finger, as you can see clearly in the picture, they can fill out a form called Borang 10A. So these two issues have been resolved. And I just want to know, can you give us some reassurance that the use of indelible ink will in fact be one of the things that will be implemented? Because it was almost going to be implemented in the last elections, and I think it will really help all the political parties tremendously, not only the voters in the next upcoming elections. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, factually, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was EC who recommended it,
yes,
and Cabinet who turned it down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, there was also reports on that, but officially the EC chairman said
Yes.
that there was no such thing. So there's contradictory reports within itself at the time.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, Wayne. Frankly, I didn't recall that Nazri said in Parliament that entirely up to the EC. Because I think that is something which everybody knows what should be the situation. Yeah. So I think I don't have to explain that because I remember Dato' Nazri mentioned that indelible ink won't be considered. That one I remember. Just like he mentioned, automatic registration won't be considered. But when he said it's entirely up to EC, I think, wow, that is something new to me. Huh? Okay.
I will write officially with Hansat at the time.
Yeah, please.
He does change his answer.
Please, YB, because I think everyone here knows that the kind of it's not the practice, the system of working in Malaysia. As I said,
I think you need to be more insistent rather than pushing it off to another party.
I thought that is something understood actually. As I mentioned, as I indicated you earlier. That's it. As I indicated you earlier, we can propose. And the process of making laws in this country, it has to go through the process that already been practiced, already been laid out under this government for a long time. Any agencies, any bodies of government, including EC, although EC is a commission, but when we don't have power to make laws, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, I mentioned just now, we can propose, but ultimately it has to be the government that decide, and when the government makes a policy, then it will go to AG's chamber, and AG's chamber will be drafting the laws, then it goes back to the government, it goes back to the minister in charge of laws, then the thing will be tabled in parliament. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so speaking of indelible ink, actually, the truth is, I think the government don't want indelible ink. Okay. But the government wants EC to think of something else. So as a result of that, the EC is looking into biometric system, which that is something which the EC for the past many months has been looking into. See the biometric costings, and to see the experts, the ICT people giving us all the opinions and so on. And we have presented to the government this biometric proposal. And again, I said the government will make a study of it and then will come back to us. So the government did not agree with indelible inks for reasons that the government knows. I think there are people also who wrote to EC, which I don't like to say this, but some people say, why should we go backward? Because if you study countries in the world that using indelible ink, those countries with voting population, India 700-800 million voters, Indonesia 150 million voters, Philippines 50 million, Thailand another 60 million. These are the countries, Bangladesh perhaps, Pakistan perhaps. So these are the countries that use indelible ink. They don't have a sophisticated ID system like we do. Okay, so now we have this IC system, which perhaps I think so. We can try to think of something making use of our advanced ICT technology. Then why not? Why should we go back to like? Because I visited a lot of election in Africa. I'm not saying that they are backward, but these are the countries. These are the countries that use indelible inks. Countries with big population, voting population, no ID system. The countries that young democracies, perhaps, you know. So the government feel that, I think basically that probably the argument that we have 11.5 million people. So I think I feel that is the argument, because I did not know what transpired in the cabinet, but that is, if you know how the cabinet transcription is just a reject, it's not really think of some other means, probably biometrics and things like that. So that is the answer. You cannot condemn EC on this, because that is the actual fact of the situation. Okay?
Yes, Dr. Wan.
No, 1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute.
1 minute, please. Allow them to finish.
So I think, and as I indicated to you, we are working very seriously to introduce something that to answer all the concerns of multiple votings, the concerns about double votings maybe. But again, let me state to you, I never come across, very frankly I'm telling you, I never come across anybody that came to EC with the proof of double voting. There was a case in Permatang Pasir by-election in Kelantan. They made into a case of election petition. But in the election court, at the time of hearing, they couldn't prove it. So, we really want to catch these people who menyamar ni as another voter to cast vote on behalf of other people, using other people's right. But I'm telling you, never a case in any election petition on the issue of the accusation, the allegation of double voting has been able to be proved by the petitioner. So I'm talking through experience, but I heard a lot about people talking about multiple voting. But have you ever come across someone who said, yeah, I voted twice? They said voted twice, but we checked. But I tell you, there is a possibility of a person who wants to cheat in election to try to vote twice. There is only one possibility, if you know the process of electoral voting. It is by way of using fake identity card. That's all. Because only one name appears in the electoral roll for one person. Because we go by the identifier of IC numbers. It's not by names, it's by the IC numbers. No two persons in Malaysia carries the same IC numbers. So, but, as I mentioned to you, the possibility is there, but it is a very difficult thing to do. The guy really must be working hard how to cheat just to get one extra vote. That is, to make fake IC, fake my card, just people do fake, credit cards. Because to do fake IC, fake my card, to take the particulars of the registered voter is easy. Because electoral roll is a public document. We sell it to the people. So supposing there is this guy who wants to cheat, just to get one extra vote, just pick up one name. I'm telling you the secret. Probably people do not know. Just choose one name, make a fake IC, fake my card, use the same name as appeared on the electoral roll, same IC number, about the same age, not young men trying to impose as an old man, because the polling clerk will see the face. And then by producing this fake IC, using the other people's identity, pick up from the electoral roll, he will go to vote early in the morning. Probably the moment the polling station opens, he will go to vote using this my card, fake my card. And my election clerk, our polling clerk, is not expert, to see whether this is a fake IC or it is, because now people make fake credit card, fake IC, looks so genuine, almost perfect. So you see, okay, the guy will call your name and then call IC number. You see, okay, about the same. He doesn't know the face. The photographs mean nothing at the polling station. The election clerk doesn't know whether the guy is the face like this, round face, no. Just see the name correct, IC number correct, the guy, pass to the next clerk, tear off the ballot paper, and he goes to vote. He goes in the morning, probably at 8:30. And probably the real voter, the genuine voter, the owner of the identity, comes probably at 11 or in the afternoon, cannot vote anymore because the name's already crossed, used by the bank. That is the only way. That is the only way people can cheat. People can try to do double voting. Because I cannot see. But phantom voters, maybe is a different case. Phantom voters, to EC is with different terminology. To the political parties is different. You see, to us, people outside the constituencies, like most Malaysians here, they register in their kampung, register at their own address, and then they didn't bother to update the electoral roll, update their latest address in the electoral roll. So when the election time comes, they come back to their original place, to their kampung, to go and vote. So these outside voters coming back to the place where they registered, and their name is, his name is on the electoral roll of that particular polling station. It's not a phantom. He is an outside voter, but he registered there and he qualified. The time of registration, he is a qualified person to register there. Maybe his mother address, his second wife's address, whatever. Because the moment the person's name is on the electoral roll, that's it, only that particular name. Because now we go by the identifier of 12-digit angka IC number. So I think to conclude already, we are now working on biometric. Try to address the issue of concern about multiple voting. People who are not supposed to vote come and vote, take other people's right. We are working on that. It is costly, but I think it is, if you ask people, I think more appropriate with Malaysia, small voting population. We are advanced in terms of this technology, you know. We can do that at the immigration counters. Why can't we try at the polling centers? So that is the answer on indelible voting. But to come back to indelible ink, it's no more.
Can I just ask a short one?
Yes. Follow up to that?
Just a short one, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm very happy to hear that at least biometrics is being considered. But the next point is, of course, the extent of political will of the Election Commission. I refer to the article...
The mic for her, please. You cannot hear what she's talking.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I refer to the article written in Malaysia Kini on 22nd May 2008. Nazri blames EC chief for ink fiasco, where it stated that the cabinet gave the recommendation. They felt that it should not be used, but he did say it is free for the EC to decide whether they would follow the cabinet's decision or not. So now that we're on the subject of biometrics, perhaps tonight, from what Dato has said, can I conclude or that the EC is committed to the use of biometrics and will do its best to ensure it's implemented by the time the next elections come?
I do not know about this enough time to use for the next PRU. But that is the thing that we are seriously making a study now to address this indelible ink.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on your earlier comment that regarding the final withdrawal, you know, the last minute withdrawal by the EC. Actually, at that time, I believe the cabinet has been advised, or there was advised by the AG that in order to use indelible ink, we have first to make a small amendment to the federal constitution. Because in the federal constitution, it did not mention about to mark.
Legal mind says no.
No.
Very difficult to change the constitution.
Legal mind says no now.
Yeah, but that is one thing. That is. I think that was the reason why EC chairman, the previous EC chairman, invited AG together with him when he made a press conference, what called cancelling the use of indelible ink at the very last minute. So that was the kind of situation. But okay, thank you.
All right, just a follow-up, and there are a lot of questions. I'm going to give everybody a chance, okay? As long as you keep your questions short. But just a follow-up to that, Dato'. If biometrics, I am very certain will not be ready before the next elections, to be very realistic. So in the interim, isn't indelible ink the answer, number one? Number two, Dato', I think if it's a recommendation of the EC, clearly EC thought about it, and EC was of the view that that was a good thing. And if EC, I would like to know whether you still think it's a good thing, Dato', and if you do, we will support you. Civil society will support you on this move for indelible ink. But I think if you want to assure the public assure the public as far as the vote rigging goes, indelible ink is a cheap, sensible alternative. So I just want to know that do you think it's a good idea?
Actually, that is a very difficult question. because election commission comprises of 7 people. So it is not me who can speak on personally.
What do you think?
Personally, I believe in biometric.
If biometric doesn't come, would you insist on the indelible ink for the next election?
The EC is working in so many ways, in so many making a study how to improve our verification of voters that come to the polling station to ensure that there is no impersonation. So this is something that we do. Because I think if you really want to introduce indelible ink, and I think you have to make, the civil society really have to make noise on this one.
We will.
No, because as I told you, I was telling you the truth. Because that was the situation. The situation was, I think AG must have given the advice, must have given his advice to the cabinet, and probably the cabinet also had their thought about that, about not appropriate with a country like Malaysia. With all this combination of reasons, probably the cabinet decided to never mind. I don't have to go. And then EC chairman at that time has got to invite AG to be with him when he made announcement of cancellation of the ink. So I think probably one more way is for people who are concerned about this multiple voting, which I have explained, I have never come across during my whole experience in EC. I never come across, believe me. But I heard so many people suspect that happened. I do not know. But when I explain to you, only one way people can cheat, try to get into the polling station to vote, to take the rights of other people, as mentioned you earlier. So I think that is the situation. I think the civil society probably, if you feel concerned so much strong about it, then you have to make a proper presentation. There are so many venues now, perhaps.
Thank you. There was a gentleman at the back, whom I promised right at the back.
First of all,
Keep it short.
Okay.
Please.
First of all, Dato' Wan, as a commission, is supposed to advise the government. First of all, let me tell myself, I'm PKQ from Gerakan, part of the Barisan Nasional.
Yeah.
However, we must ensure the government is accountable. And having intelligible ink is to ensure accountability of voting system. One question, Dato'. You're talking about no such thing as double voting. How about those people consistently did not vote? And who has got the information about those people who consistently did not vote? And if they use that system to make people vote on behalf of those people who have never voted. Tell me, you are from the Election Commission. You're supposed to be advisor, you're supposed to be expert on this. How are you going to stop people making use of people who have never voted before as phantom vote voters?
Thank you.
Wow, you really raise your voice, huh?
Yes, I'm part of Barisan. I want Barisan to be accountable. And having the wasting money, it is unaccountable.
Thank you.
We conduct elections. And as mentioned, I don't have to repeat our constraint. I don't have to repeat our legal constraint, the constraint of doing things, you know. But you mentioned people who never vote and how, I don't understand what. Of course, we have 11.5 million people, and every time we do election, we manage to get 75% of these people, registered voters, out to polling station. So this is the kind of thing. So we always have 25% of registered voters who stay away from the polling station. But maybe not all, maybe 50% of them are people who are no longer in this country, or who no longer who are dead, but the relative never report dead to the registration to the registration department. So I think the best we can get is 80%. So I don't understand when you say other people will make use of people who never voted.
Can it happen or not?
Huh?
Can it happen or not?
He must have the identity card of the dead
Anyway,
person.
in history, please, a little bit,
Can you-
a
yeah.
little bit
Can you-
longer.
Yeah.
Basically, Malaysia, they have got phantom people who receive PDPDN scholarship, right? They never trace. They get people, bank account being taken away, Malaysian system. They got people, before they died, they got EPS being withdrawn. That's happening. So, and please, since we want to promote voting for everybody, those who are eligible to vote, promoting voting, then having intelligible ink is a fantastic system to show that, yes, I voted. I've done my job as a citizen of Malaysia. I voted, whether they vote for whoever, doesn't matter. But the first thing is to vote, is to make sure you're aware of what you're voting. And having intelligible ink in your thumb, that indicates you have voted. And we as civil society will make sure we snub those that have got ink on their thumb. Right now. Why don't nobody clap?
Okay, your point taken.
All right.
And Commission, you should advise, don't waste all the money promoting voting, okay? I'm also a qualified...
All right, I think there are other, sorry, I have to stop you because we have many people with many questions. The shorter the better. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, salam.
After introducing my boss, Dato', last year, during our Transparency International seminar at Concord Hotel, Zach Kamuddin asked a question, asking you, Dato', whether you could give us a wish list, your wish list, meaning those reforms that you would like to push through to the government,
Yes.
the government is sitting on. You did not respond.
I can respond today.
No, because you said it's secret, it's not boleh. Secret. Yeah, you mentioned tak boleh. Confidential you kata. Today, Wong Kiwat made a very good point, saying that the EC should be working with the civil society. Are you prepared to work with us? Because if EC cannot initiate the reform which is required, which is at the moment, then let us help you. Let us, the civil society, help you work together and push through the reform to the government. Are you prepared to work with us?
Yeah, thank you. EC has dialogued so many sessions with NGOs. That's why we meet. We invited Bersih and some other bodies, to come to EC to express their concern and to get feedbacks from them. So in terms of whether we like to work with civil society, I think it's of course, because that is the reason why we dialogue with political parties, we dialogue with NGOs, we have people from Mafrail coming to our office, we appointed Mafrail to be election observers and so on. Because we hope feedbacks from these people, from these sources, will help EC to strengthen the EC to push reforms. Again, I would like to repeat again, it's not easy for EC just to ensure that whatever reforms that we push is going to be accepted. Because the system, the embedded system in this country is that it has to go through the process of law making. And anything you talk about electoral democracy or election in this country, we are talking about laws and regulation.
But some of it is a matter of...
Yeah, you ask your question later.
Yeah, so when YBs speak about requesting this and that, they are referring to a certain provision in the law. So we look at this law, and of course we study the law. We know about free and fair election, but there are so many things that we have to check the laws and regulation in order to meet the standard requirements of free and fair election. So that is the situation actually. We have a constraint here. Jadi, to answer whether EC is willing to work with the civil society, yes, EC is meeting with NGOs. Even now, because we are so concerned about 4 million out there have not registered, we are now getting NGOs to be our assistant registrars. So, because why we did that? It's simply because the meaning we tried to push automatic registration. Meaning to say, because we are concerned about 4.4 million out there who did not register. We tried to push automatic registration, but we couldn't. Then we must find ways how to reduce these people who are not registered. That's why we open up now. Government agencies, NGOs, private individuals, leaders of community, and the political parties, all political parties, send their representative to be assistant registrars. That means that what the goals of everybody here to make sure that the young people or 4 million people who are not registered to come forward, that is our goal too. Why we did that? Because short of introducing automatic registration. Okay. But why not? But if you talk about automatic registration, there are pros and cons about it. We made a study. Not everything about automatic registration is good, with pros, everything. You have a series of cons.
List them.
You want to know?
Yes.
I don't want to be wrongly quoted. I have to read on this one.
Yes.
So I put here, why the need to require citizens to register? Since we have a sophisticated identity card system and so on, microchip. But number one, under the present law, it does not allow Yes, it goes back to law. It does not allow the EC to do automatic registration.
Which part of Can we have some lawyers, please?
You have to amend 119 bracket 4 bracket B of Federal Constitution. Oh, what did they say? They said a person has to apply to become a voter. That's what the Constitution says. Okay, so
You can read it then.
can read it. A person,
Qualifying date.
a qualifying date means the date on which a person applies for registration as an elector in a constituency. So even this little word applies, you have to delete it, or you have to apply or some other means probably as decided by EC. So meaning you have to add it to it. You just cannot. The Constitution says applies, then the ECs introduce automatic. Well, I think it's going to be a lot of court cases. People will dispute the decision of the EC. So that is a very big obstacle there.
No, wait, he hasn't got it. No, let's hear the list. Let's hear the list.
Okay. Yes, of course. Number 2, yeah. But this one, just in case Parliament approve amendment of this law, delete or make addition to the way how people can register, then we do automatic registration next month, for example. Then you have 4 million people. 4 million people supply of new voters down on the spot, right to the electoral roll, coming from various addresses, constituencies around the country. And you have in Klang Valley, and probably majority of these young people, if there are young people who are not registered. But when you make study, not necessarily young people who are not registered. A lot of middle-aged people, old people. So, assuming majority of those unregistered are young people, then you can imagine 4 million, probably 1/3 of them or 50% of them are concentrated in Klang Valley. Then you have constituency in Klang Valley suddenly shoot up the number of electorates that really create imbalance. That's number one. Meaning to say, suddenly one constituency did not really experience increase. The other one is really increased. So right now, the present number of registered voters in all constituencies now is almost balanced. If you go to that is under Constitution. Putrajaya is considered one constituency. No, that is the thing. You must understand the law, read the law, and then you make it. Putrajaya, Labuan, these are all one constituency. It's one constituency. So, simply because Putrajaya has only 7,000 voters, then because that is one constituency. And it's a state. It's a one constituency. It's a consider.
It's a state.
It's a state.
Okay.
So that is one. Then you have it will cost. Okay, if we transfer all these 4.1 million people from the National Registration Database, we transfer to the Election Commission database, and automatically become voters. And we will have, from our research, 30% of Malaysians have not updated their address. Meaning to say, we don't care to update our latest address to the national registration record. It's the national registration record. We move. The mobility of Malaysia in this country is so high. People move, getting jobs outside their original place, but they haven't changed their original address. So the old address is still at the national registration record database, whereas the body is somewhere else. So we take 4 million, transfer it into database SPR, and become registered voter. So you will find these people, number one, they do not know where they vote, because if now they have to fill up forms, they have to register, then they know they register according to their IC address. They make a point, they have to know where they can vote on election day. But if we just transfer their details from national registration database, they can be, number one, they didn't bother to check. They only concerned when election time comes. And they said they cannot vote because EC put their names in Penang. They never realized, they never updated their records when he registered his IC record in Penang. I think many of us in this room, your IC address is not the place where you reside now.
But we know where our IC address is.
Yeah, but then, because you are a concerned citizen. But a lot of people, you know, they can't be bothered. You know, you have to think, because we are making studies on this one. Okay. So you have, come election time, you have about, you have people who start checking, where am I voting? Because then there will be a lot of crisscrossing around the country on election day, and more of them. And the probability is they don't even go back to vote to their original address. So when 100% of voting population are registered,
Then we solve the problem.
If the present attitude of voters didn't bother to check, and comes election time, they don't come and vote, then the turnout percentage will be very low, because out of 100%. So I think probably I think what is the point of putting their names on the roll if they don't bother to go back and vote? This is a lot of the pro and cons, what I'm trying to say. But